What's up, everyone? Welcome to my last Smite tier list of Season 3. This is it. The season is over. We are now going into Season 4, and I'm very, very excited about that. Looking forward for my channel. If this is the first video you've ever seen of mine, I would recommend that you check out some of my other stuff, see if you like anything. This channel is almost a year old. Started, I think in February I started it in 2016, so it's almost a year old. We're trying to get it going. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and who has supported me. If you've commented or liked my videos, it's great. I love the feedback. So looking into season 4, I'm hoping to grow it even more, trying to get a lot of community feedback as to what people want to see. I do have a Smite podcast that I do. I like to make build videos. I like to do gameplay, all the different kind of things. So hopefully going to be able to do a lot more in the future, including tier lists. So as I said, this is the last tier list I'm going to be doing of season 3. It is going to be an express tier list, which means that I'm going to go through pretty quickly through the gods. I'm going to give each god a maximum of like 3 points that I want to say, and then we're going to move on because tier lists can take over an hour, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to be doing that. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to start at the end. We're going to go backwards just because I feel like we should mix it up. So we're going to start with Zhang Kui. Actually, before I go into it, I do want to say this tier list is going to be based on pro and higher level rank play. The reason behind that is because there's no such thing as a casual tier list. If you're a casual player, you could play AMC, who is one of the worst gods in the game, and go 20-0. So the meta is really based on ranked and pro play. Even though it does trickle down into casual play, there's no reason to have a tier list for casual. So this is just keeping in mind pro play mainly, and then also ranked included. So with that, we'll get into it. Zhang Kui is going to be the first god we talk about. I think Zhang Kui is not great. I'd put him in B+. He could be played in the soul lane because he is a tanky mage, but his role just doesn't really fit the meta at all. Zeus is going to be A+ for me. Did very well in Smite World Championships. That burst damage is insane. He also, with the very popular Dynasty Plate Helm start, can be pretty safe. So he's very good. Amir is good too. Not as much in the meta as he was maybe a month or two ago. Can get caught out if you're not careful, but he does have a high base stat, so that is very helpful for him. Xing Chen, I think Xing Chen is okay. Can definitely be played in this meta in the soul lane. Not really good in support, but he's pretty aggressive, and I like his playstyle. So I think he's good in the A tier. Shivalanke is not very good. We'll put him in B tier. Very tough to get him going, has a very bad early game. Vulcan is pretty good. I'll put him in A+. Pretty Prime obviously played some Vulcan, did okay with him. Honestly, Pretty Prime didn't have the best finals ever. His play was okay. He was just kind of a role player more than anything, but he puts Vulcan in A+. Vulcan is not bad. That ultimate is very nice to have, very high damaging, and a good defensive mage. Vamana I will actually put also in A+. Got played a good amount in the solo lane. Scary D played him. I think, some EU players as well played him. This, again, the Smite World Championships, now that I'm making this tier list, was about a week ago, so my memory is a bit foggy. But Vamana, okay lane clear, really good escape with the ultimates, and his mid game is really strong. Uller is alright. I'll put him in A tier. Zabman pulled him out. And I don't think did too well with him. I think they may have lost that game. So, Uller has trouble with mana, but is a pretty solid hunter. Not really in the meta. Tyr is up here in S. Tyr is one of the best soul laners in the game right now with the last buff. Got played quite a bit. Varieties Tyr was insane, so there's no doubt in my mind he's S tier. Thoth is okay. I put him in A tier. Good damage. The early wave clear is a little bit iffy, but he doesn't miss. The one never misses, so he has really good confirmation of damage. Thor is great. Of course, there are many junglers in the SPL right now who main Thor all the time. Weaken, let's not talk about it because his Thor was horrible, but Thor is a very solid jungler. You can definitely pick him, and he's almost always in the meta, so that's a good thing. The Morgan is new. She's probably going to get nerfed, though. In fact, she most certainly will get nerfed. But I'm not going to place her because she's new. Thanatos. So Thanatos is interesting. DM Brandon had a tier list recently, and he put Thanatos in S because of, the whole Soul Lane thing, but Thanatos had some bad games too in the SPL. He is in the meta. The main reason is because early invades are huge, and Thanatos is like made for invades. So that's good, and that early aggression is something that you really want in this meta. So that's why he's good. I'll put him in A plus. I don't think he's S tier. So Terra is S tier, verging on S plus. Terra didn't get played too much in the World Championships, which was surprising. I think Terra is pretty boring, to be honest, but she's very strong. Good wave clear. The healing, the ultimate's awesome. So Sylvanas is an S, even though he had very okay performance in the World Championships. Panda-like in particular just sucked with Sylvanas, but again, that early aggression is good, and then the heals is something that almost every team wants some kind of healer. So the fact that he has the utility, he has the peel and the heal, that mixed together makes him really strong. Susano is okay. You're not going to see him too often in this meta. I think A is very fair. He got buffed, he got nerfed. I mean, he got nerfed, then he got buffed, and he got changed around a bunch. I think he's in an okay spot right now. You can play him if you want, but he's just not really in the meta. Sun Wukong, I think, is A2. Probably going to get buffed or some kind of kit change. I think I heard something about Season 4. He's going to get a kit change, so we'll see about that, but he's okay. Soul is one of the best ADCs right now. Really good magical ADC. Her and Kronos are the top two. Just really good early damage and then can carry late really well. Sobek, I would put in A plus. Very good soul laner. Probably a better soul laner than support right now, actually. You're seeing a lot of or some Guardians like Sobek and Terra and Xing Chen are getting put in the soul lane, so he can do very well there. And having that tanky soul laner is always a good idea. Scotty, it's too bad. Scotty's fun, but she's really not good. So she's unfortunately gonna be in B plus. I won't put her in B because I do think that her lane clear is super good, and in ranked you can get away with it, but you gotta be really careful of the ganks. Serket is fine, not really good in this meta at all. Really good burst, but she's super squishy. If she gets invaded, she's probably gonna just be done for the rest of the game. So Scylla, I will put in A plus. Scylla got played quite a bit, and the late game damage is just awesome. Is she good in this meta? No, but the early clear, is better than it used to be, so that's good. Ravana is pretty good too. I will put him in A plus. That early aggression is very, very good to have. Was he picked a lot in the World Championships? No. But I think he's still a solid pick, especially in ranked. Going against a Ravana is never easy in ranked. Ratatoskr. So Ratatoskr for me is S plus. I think he's the best jungler in the game. Probably better than Ao Kuang, and that's saying a lot. Ao Kuang, I don't know if he got picked in the World Championship. I don't know how often. I don't really remember seeing him, but Ratatoskr got picked a lot and was almost always prioritized, did really well. The ultimate is insane. I can't say anymore because I said I'd only do 3 lines, but that's it. He's S+, in my opinion. Rom, I think, is good. I put Rom in A+. Very strong hunter, not like the top hunter, but like top 4 or 5 hunters right now. Raijin is actually not very good right now in this meta. The nerf to the 3, the Thunder Crash combo, did hurt his damage quite a bit. Good control, but his damage just isn't there anymore, so he's in B+ for me. Ra, I will put in S. The heals are amazing. There was, I think, the Chinese team, right? Or maybe it was Licht. I think it was Licht had that like awesome mid laner who played Ra and wrecked. I think it was against Allegiance. So Ra was very common in the World Championships. Very strong mid laner. Again, the heals are huge right now. Poseidon, interestingly enough, Poseidon is A+. For some reason, people forgot how to play against the Kraken. I don't know why. I think because Sanctuary isn't prioritized. Most players in pro play don't pick up Aegis first. So you can kind of get away with the Poseidon. That's why I think he did well. He kind of snuck by there, which is interesting. Osiris is fine. A tier, you're not going to see him very much. Even though Osiris is pretty good for invades, in my opinion, but he's just not in the meta. Odin is good, good counter pick. You saw Odin a little bit, so I think he's a strong um, flex pick. You know, I would kind of prefer him in like a support role, either support or solo. I don't think, he is a good jungler. He's fun in the jungle, but that's not really where he is best. I think soul lane support is kind of where he should go. Nuwa is okay. Got played a little bit, didn't do too well. I don't remember seeing a good Nuwa game in the Smite World Championship, so she is okay for me. Nox, Nox is fun to play. It's definitely one of MLC stealth gods, but you didn't see her at all. Um, she really just the combo is too hard to hit, and it's really that simple. So Nike's interesting. DM Brandon in his list he had her as S plus. Now I think that's getting a little hasty. Nike, of course, picked by Captain Twig in the jungle, and I think 4 games, and then got played in solo in another game, and she went 5-0. Nike went 5-0 at the championships, which is pretty impressive. But can you really put one god in the S plus tier just because Captain Twig did really well in the jungle with her? I don't know. So I think as far as a jungler goes, I think she's S. I think that's where she should be. S plus is a little hasty for me. Um, as far as a soul laner though, she's like A tier. She's an okay soul laner because she can be counterpicked very easily. So S jungler is where I'm putting Nike. Naja is okay. Didn't get picked very often. No reason to really pick him in this meta. He's too squishy. That's really one of the biggest issues. Nemesis, very good. A plus, got picked quite a bit. Got to see some adapting play with Nemesis, which was nice. I think some other players did too. Again, my memory's a little foggy of the World Championships because it was over a week ago. So Neith is fine, not really in the meta. Transcendence Hunters are just really, really out right now, but she's still good. Like the ultimate is always super helpful to have. Merc, Merc is S tier. Interestingly enough, Mass Merc absolutely pulled Merc into the S tier. Some other players also played Merc as well. I think the late game is awesome, and the biggest thing is you have to survive the early game. And once you get a full build, it really it's amazing how, once you get to like your 5th item as Merc, you're still not doing that well, but then you get that 6th item online and you just destroy people. That like last crit item or whatever you get, Bloodforge or something. And you just unleash the power of Merc and he wrecks. It's kind of like a late game Rama, just this insane hyper carry. So he's S tier right now. It's interesting because he used to be B tier for like the longest time, but I don't know, that late game fight that I saw in the World Championships was just insane. Medusa unfortunately is B tier. Probably one of the worst hunters in the game. Again, Transcendence Hunters just don't make sense. She's not a good carry. She is good mid-game, very good mid-game fight. Her late-game fight is she doesn't have the damage for it, so it doesn't really make sense to pick her. So that's Medusa. Loki, B tier. In ranked you can do well. And actually, I've been seeing a lot more Loki recently. Could you nudge him up to B plus? Probably, but I don't like him, so I'm putting him in B. Kumba is pretty good. I'll put him in A. Not in the meta. His wave clear sucks, but he has really good control, so that's good. Kook, not in the meta. I wouldn't really pick Kook at all. Good clear, good early clear, but once you get into the late game, he just gets caught out. Khepri is going to be up in A plus for me. IRAF vs Khepri was just amazing. It was so awesome to see a good Khepri. One of the best Khepri games I've ever seen was in the finals, so that was really cool. The Khepri ult, I think it was either game 2 or game 3 against Obey, was the reason that they won. Because he was just saving everyone out of these fights. Because Obey was winning. Obey was winning those fights. Maybe it was game 1. I don't really remember, but yeah, Khepri's pretty good. The res just kind of reminded everyone of how good Khepri can be. Kali, so Kali's going in C tier. She's actually not in the game right now because she's bugged. I think it has something to do with the Morgan or something, but she's bugged, so I'll put her in C tier. Jingwei S, probably the best hunter in the game. Um, Actually, no, I'm putting Jing in S plus. Jing is definitely an S plus god right now. Was prioritized by several teams in the hunter role. I mean, Ataraxia, Zapman, um, lots of other players too were playing Jing quite a bit. So she's one of the best gods in the game. Janice is also S plus, the best mage in the game, best mid laner. The ultimate is, again, people are just kind of reminded whenever Janice gets pulled out of land about how important that ult can be in team fights and like sieging a phoenix. It's really really good to have. So, and he's good throughout the game. His early game clear is okay, but once you get past like the first couple levels, get some a little bit more damage, you're fine. And if you can play Janice, he's one of the best gods in the game. Um, so that he's definitely up there. Izanami got picked a little bit, didn't do very well. I don't remember what team it was, but someone picked, I think it was Eager. They picked Izanami mid and then just lost because it was so bad. So got picked in the World Championships, but I don't think should have gotten picked because she's really not great. I don't know, her late game isn't amazing. Um, Isis is B plus, not in the meta at all right now, which is surprising because her early clear is really good, but late game she gets caught out. Her late game, she falls off harder than most mages. Even though her ultimate's really good, her damage and her abilities just kind of fall off, and she has no real escape. Like she has the stun, she has the wind gust, but it's not really enough to get her out of tough situations. It's really her peel is just difficult. Hunbats, I was surprised Hunbats didn't get picked more. I expected Captain Twig to pull him out. Hunbats is a very strong jungler right now and is probably underrated, but I'll put him in A tier because he wasn't picked very often and not huge in the meta. Hui I'll put in either A or A plus. I'll put him in A plus. I think Hui deserves the A plus. Is a good kind of solid third option for a hunter right now. Herc, Herc is B plus. Not in the meta. His his kit is just okay. There's nothing about him that makes him stand out. His clear is not good. Really, it's okay. His control is good if you can hit the pull. And the ultimate is just like, yeah, it's really just not the most useful kit. There's just way more useful kits out there as far as warriors go, and there's no reason to pick him, so he's not in the meta. Hell is awful. She goes in C tier. She's gonna get a rework season 4. I'm like 100%. Hebo is pretty bad. Don't ever pick Hebo. Um, it just his abilities just suck. Like he's got good damage and the knockup is pretty nice, but why would you ever play Hebo? When you can have like a Poseidon or a Zeus with like huge ultimates, instead you have like this assassin type of mage with small abilities and like, you know, a two ability that doesn't really matter that much. He's just not good. Um, Hades, I'll put him B plus. I think he should get a rework soon, but I guess he could pass as a soul laner, but I would not recommend it. Guan Yu is A plus, got played in the support role at the World Championships and did pretty well. So he's solid. He's a better support than soul laner, definitely, because his early clear can get interrupted, very easily countered, and the clear is just not amazing. Geb, so Geb is A plus for me. I used to have Geb in B like maybe 2 months ago, but I mean Iraffer and I think some other supports pulling him out. The shield is really awesome to have. Just his early game clear is just not good. So that's the only thing. Freya is also a plus. I think she is kind of secondary to Sol Kronos. If Sol or Kronos, either they're banned, they've already been picked, or maybe they're not your playstyle, you can absolutely do a Freya and she will wreck late game. It's just you got to survive that early game, which, you know, isn't the hardest thing to do. Especially in this meta, since the dual lane is pretty much the new solo, because what happens is like level 1 the support leaves duo, goes to mid, and then eventually rotates over to solo. So there's a lot of fights in solo, you know, good amount of fights in mid, nothing really going on in duo. So Freya can be safe and just farm up, which is nice. Fenrir, I will put Fenrir in A plus. So I'm really good adapting Fenrir play. That's the main reason he's up there. Um, you know, in the right hands, Fenrir can absolutely be a very strong jungler. Fafnir is not getting picked very much. I don't know why. I think he should get picked more. He was pretty big for a while. I'm gonna put him in A plus. I think he is deserves to be A plus because he's really good. And this is mainly a ranked pick play, just because in the pro league for some reason he just wasn't picked. I don't know why, but in ranked he's still very good. Erlong Shen is S. You know, that flex pick option is awesome. Really good, pretty good jungler, good soul laner. But in the support role is where you see him the most in the pro league. And I played him support before, and it really does work if you get the build right. So Erlong support pretty strong, and he can also play jungle and solo. So he's good. Cupid is not good. B plus. You know, there's just no reason to have like a healing hunter, and you can counter the ultimate super easily with sprint. So yeah, no reason to pick him. Kronos, I'll put in S tier because of Emilitu and some other players. I don't remember exactly who played him in the World Championships, but he's really, really strong, and the late game damage is impossible to deal with. So yeah, he's in the rewind, of course, is a really, really good safety tool. Kronos is okay, one of the lower end hunters right now, but you know, could he be played in the meta? Maybe. I wouldn't do it though. Chunga goes in B. She's not good at all. Healers in general are in a really bad spot, like almost worse than ever. So she's not good. Shock is fine. You could play Shock if you want to. Didn't get played, I don't think at all in the World Championships, but you know is pretty good. So in ranked play, you could play Shock if you wanted to, if you really want that early pressure. So Camazotz, I'll put in A plus. I think the soul lane play of Camazotz is clearly better than jungle play. It's not that he's a bad jungler. He can be played in the jungle. It's just that sustain is meant for like a soul lane god, and that early aggression, because he has pretty good early damage, means that he can really just attack you in solo. So if you're playing against a Camazotz, you gotta watch out. But if he's in the jungle, don't need to worry too much. Cabrakan I think is okay. Can be played solo. Did get played solo a little bit. I don't. He's not my favorite pick in the world, but he's okay. Bologna I will put. I'll put in A plus because she was a pretty solid pick in the World Championships and has just kind of proven herself. She fell out of the meta a little bit, but is back there, I think. Bastet is okay. DJ Pernicus played her in like super regionals and in the LAN. I'm sorry, the split before that, but did not play her at all. I don't think in the World Championship. So, but she's good. She has good, really good burst damage, good split pushing god. But other than that, you know, she can. There are just better junglers out there. Bakasura is not great. I'd put him in B plus. Um, there's no real spot to put him. He's, you know, okay jungler, okay solo. A lot of people kind of prefer him in the solo lane, but I don't think it makes sense. Um, Bacchus, very strong. I'll put him in A plus. You're noticing there's a big kind of grouping of A plus gods. I think there are a lot that are above average, and the main reason is because the meta is just really messed up right now. Um, Gods that shouldn't really be played in certain roles are getting played there. Thanatos solo, Camazotz solo, Erlong Shen support. Um, you know, you're just seeing gods in all these weird places, And a lot of it has to do, again, with the fact that the early game is just really, really super focused, and the fact that you're team fighting right away. So you may want to look for that high early damage. That's why Zeus is up there. That's why Camazotz is up there because of that early aggression. The level 5 Poseidon ult is huge, especially if you're playing against people who don't have an Aegis. Um, so you're looking for those early team fights, whereas most of season 3 team fights started at like the Gold Fury when Gold Fury started to go, but now it's right away. Just team fight the whole entire game. Um, and you can invade if you want. Invades are very in. So that's kind of why there's just a mix of gods out there now. Um, and a lot of them are grouped higher up because you can basically do what you want in this meta. It just depends on your playstyle. A Wheelix is very good. Either A or A plus. I'll put her in A. I think she should get played a little bit more, but did really well, I think, in the super regionals. So that was good. Athena is good. I'll put her in A plus. I think she deserves to be there. Not really getting picked too much in the support role, but Weekend may still pull her out in Jungle. I don't really know. I don't think he did, but it may happen. Artemis is bad. One of the worst hunters. Did get played in the World Championships, but went 1-6 and lost the only game she was in. So it's really hard. Her early clear is not good. Very hard to get to her late game, which can be very strong, but she gets caught out too easily. Ares, I will put in, I guess A. He could be A plus. Ares support is still very good. The ultimate the ultimate is good at level 5 to have, so, and especially if you're playing with one of those high damaging burst mage, which tend to be in, so Poseidon, Zeus, because those, in Vulcan as well, because those gods are in, having the Ares is just makes him a lot more viable. Arachne, definitely not in the meta at all. I'll put her in B tier. She's really not good right now. Um, those basic attack junglers just are way out. There's something that needs to be done in season 4 to make them come back. Of course, they had kind of a resurgence in season 3, like early season 3, but since then nothing's really happened. Apollo is good. I did see some Apollo. I'll put him in A tier. I think he's very balanced. There's nothing wrong with Apollo. But knowing high res, if Apollo is balanced, that means they're going to buff him because that's what happened last season. So Aphrodite, C tier, not good. Healers are very, very far out, and she should probably never get picked, and probably either needs a rework or healers in general need some kind of buff in Season 4. Ao Kuang, I think, is S tier. More of a ranked pick. Didn't see him much in the Smite World Championship. I do think Ratatoskr is the best jungler in the game right now, above Ao Kuang, but Ao Kuang is close. Those two are very close to each other. Anubis. So, this is kind of the elephant in the room. I will put him in A tier, not happy about it, but Anubis did get picked, and in one game he did alright. So, whether that was a smart pick or not, I don't know. Again, as I said before, the reason that Anubis got picked by the best was because of that early clear and that early aggression. It's almost like throughout this, we had a very early game meta throughout season 3. It was very big, and then the end of season 3 just kind of came to um, this huge ending of super hyper early game. Early invades, team fighting right away, and that early game damage was huge. That's why I think the best felt comfortable. If you can get early kills with Anubis, you can get fed and do very well. If you die though, then you're done. So he's very risky, and in this meta he can work. Um, Late game metas, forget it, forget Anubis, But in this hyper early game meta, that's kind of why he can work. So I'll put him in A because of that. On her is very good. Did get played a little bit, I think. I'll put him in A. I think he's a solid hunter. Not really. Hunters in general are not super in the meta. You can kind of do whatever you want. Magical ADCs are still way more popular, just in general. Amaterasu is S tier. Probably the best soul laner right now, besides Tyr. Tyr and Amaterasu are definitely the two right there. Scary D's Amaterasu was awesome. One of the highlights of the World Championship. Apwash. Apwash is not good. Put him in B tier. Don't pick him, but he's very good in arena, assault, those kind of game modes. Amu's in Cab. B tier. Uh, it just gets caught out super easily. The early clear is good, which technically should make him not bad in this meta, but still, it's Amu's in Cab. Like, don't pick him. And finally, our last god is Agni. Um, Agni's A. I don't. I used to have him in A plus. I don't think he's A plus anymore. I think he's right in the middle. Good mage, good mid game. His early clear is not great, so you just kind of have to do all your work in the mid game. Try to get fed so that your late game is good, and you just blow people up with your ult. So that is it. That is the ends of my tier list. Again, I want to thank everyone who supported me throughout the year. I've had a lot of fun making all of my videos. And again, if you're new to the channel, I will have a lot more coming out, a lot more content. I'm going to be making a Smite top 10 gods list, probably like a week or two after the release of the first season 4 patch. Once like a meta starts to form and maybe there's a consensus about how good gods are, I would like to do that because I think it's good to kind of have a list at the beginning of the year to just kind of give everyone an idea of what gods might be good, and we can move from there. So thanks again for everyone for checking out my channel. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day.